I've been struggling with what to do about the baby in your belly. Huh? What do you mean? Well, the baby is Steve's, and recently you haven't been paying much attention to me. Paying attention? Can't help it, can I? I've been busy with work lately. And don't connect that with this child. So what if the child is Steve's? The child hasn't done anything wrong, right? I am a pregnant woman in my last month of pregnancy who remarried another man. My previous husband died in an accident at work. The marriage happened because a subordinate of my husband, who went to the scene, comforted me. We only registered for marriage. If you thought that way, why did you decide to be with me in the first place? Don't say such things now. It's just that, thinking about the baby in your belly makes me feel really bad. You're saying that in front of me. What? Your usual need for attention kicking in? Get over it. Don't project your feelings onto the child. I haven't forgotten when you proposed, saying, "I will love you," including the baby in your belly. I did say that, but still. My current husband, Kevin, is 10 years younger than me and craves attention. When Kevin comforted me while I was down, I thought he was a strong person. But living together, he suddenly craves attention and keeps trying to be affectionate. Kevin, knowing the baby in my belly is Steve's, still comes closer to me in bed every day, trying to be close. Stop it, it's disgusting. Hey, don't do that when there's a child in my belly. I'll do it after giving birth, so please, just bear with it now. The baby might be born in a week. The birth of my child was imminent, despite my body being ready to give birth at any moment. Kevin kept trying to get attention, which was annoying. Honestly, it's unbearable how disgusting it feels. My former husband, Steve, was calm and attentive, helping with household chores when things were tough, so I felt a significant disconnect with Kevin. Whether pregnant or in the last month, if something bothers him, he suddenly becomes sulky and seeks attention. Honestly, it's so annoying. How old are you again? Do you need so much attention? You're not a child. I don't know if it's because there's a 10-year difference between us. But if you keep this up, I'll consider divorce. After Kevin's persistent need for attention reached its limit, I got angry, and he left the room with a sullen face. What does he intend to do? While sighing in disbelief, Kevin suddenly entered the room and forcefully pulled my arm. Hey, what are you doing? You didn't have to say that much, I didn't think you would. I've reached my limit. I could lock someone like you in the basement. I'm at my limit too, stop it and let go. Kevin, pulling me forcibly, seemed a bit teary-eyed. Yet, he desperately pulled my hand and led me to the basement next to the bedroom. You made me feel this way, you stupid woman. Reflect on it there. Kevin said that and threw me into the basement. But, I could do something about this situation. Because this house, which also serves as an office for work, was built by me. Thus, it is equipped with security everywhere, and if I wanted, I could open it from the inside. Kevin, who just married, didn't know this. I have an annual income of $250 million and am the president of a company. And 3 days after I was locked in the basement, the door opened. What? What did you do? How did you open the lock? I'm having contractions. Call an ambulance. Kevin, upon seeing me in labor pains, got scared and ran away from the scene. Is this what someone who claimed to love me would do? Due to this event, I decided to divorce Kevin and also decided to spread the word about Kevin's annoying behaviors that had been bothering me until now. My name is Jenny, I am 39 years old, and I run an online business where I launched my original brand. Initially, the brand didn't take off, but gradually it became famous, skyrocketing in sales. And before I knew it, it had grown into a well-known brand with an annual revenue of around $250 million. My current husband was a fan of my brand and had been sending me messages enthusiastically for a long time. His approach was passionate, not only praising the brand but eventually starting to compliment even the photos of me posted on the website. "You are very beautiful. The person who launched the brand must be attractive and well-dressed. Thank you for your kind words. Such words motivate me and become a catalyst for creating better products. I treasure them." We had such exchanges over email. Over time, my husband's passionate appeals became excessive, to the point where he was almost like a stalker, begging, "Please, can we meet?" Initially, I refused. But I eventually gave in to the persistence of my husband, Steve, and agreed to meet just once. "Thank you for meeting me. This is just for this time." I agreed reluctantly because of your persistent requests, but this won't happen again. I had intended to make that clear at the beginning. However, what was supposed to be a light meal turned into a very enjoyable conversation with Steve, and we ended up going to a second location. "I'm sorry, I just had fun." "It's okay. I'm happy you said that. But this is a one-time thing, right?" "I also enjoyed today. Thank you for a wonderful day. I'll continue to support you from the shadows." With those words, Steve left. However, now I found myself unable to stop thinking about Steve. I inadvertently found his email address from our previous exchanges and found myself writing to him without realizing it. "I had a great time the other day. If possible, I'd like to meet again." What am I doing? No, this can't happen. He's a fan of my brand. I told myself that and deleted the email, never sending it. But before I knew it, I had written a similar email and pressed the send button unconsciously. Really? Is that okay? What made you change your mind suddenly? I snapped back to reality upon receiving Steve's email. I couldn't believe I had sent the email, but a part of me was happy. I was going to meet Steve again. The thought filled me with excitement. "I'm sorry for the sudden email. Is it okay? I'd like to talk again." I felt that if I missed this opportunity, it would become difficult to meet Steve again. So, I replied desperately, and that led to another meeting with Steve. "I'm happy we could meet again." "Me too." I was conscious and couldn't look at Steve's face. By this time, we had both realized we had feelings for each other. A year later, we happily got married. We were already expecting a child, 5 months into the pregnancy. "Nice to meet you, I'm Kevin, Steve's subordinate." "Pleased to meet you." Steve had brought Kevin, his subordinate, to our house for a drink. "See? I told you my wife is beautiful." Steve introduced me like that. Probably to prove something he had been told by Kevin during a drink after work. That I was beautiful. Really, she is beautiful. I'm jealous. It's great to have such a wife. At that moment, Kevin looked at me with envy, as if he saw something he desired. Steve must be spoiled by such a beautiful person. I'm envious. Honestly, I should have realized at that moment that he was trouble. 4 months after that incident, Steve, who was a construction site supervisor, died in an accident at the site. It happened all of a sudden. This can't be true. Why? Just when the baby is about to be born, why? I was speechless due to the shock of the event. I was so mentally drained that I thought I might just break down then and there. Are you okay, Jenny? I know it's tough that Steve suddenly passed away and all this happened. But you have a baby in your belly. It's not okay to give up. If anything happens, I'll protect you and the baby in your belly, so Kevin's words were strong, lifting my spirits that had been down. Through my tears, Kevin's figure overlaid with Steve's, and I found myself hugging him impulsively. I will protect you. For Steve's sake, I will be the one to protect Jenny. Kevin's face at that moment was unfamiliar, but he must have been serious. That's why I believed his words and agreed to register our marriage, swearing to hold a wedding ceremony after the baby was born. Right after we got together, Kevin moved into my house. From now on, please take care of me. I understand how you feel, but why come here right away? What about your apartment? I've taken care of everything today. I never really had much stuff to begin with, and I'm a minimalist. So everything I own fits in a carry-on bag. Kevin said this as he appeared in front of me, pulling a carry-on bag. Is that so? Well, that's fine, but what about your room? There are 2 empty rooms, but which one will you use? Which one to use is obvious, isn't it? It has to be your room. With those words, Kevin pushed my back and forcibly guided me to my room. Nice room. It has a double bed, so we can sleep together. Wait, are you serious? Isn't it too soon? I don't like this. What are you talking about? We're married, aren't we? Then it's no problem to sleep in the same bed. That's not the point. Kevin's behavior, eager to be affectionate, put me off. The gap between his behavior now and when he confessed was too big. It felt like he was acting out of a desire to be spoiled or seeking attention. Despite being younger, it felt more like talking to a child than having a conversation with an adult. Anyway, let's sleep together from today. I won't do anything strange, I'm just worried about you, Jenny. I felt as if Kevin had sweet-talked me, but I agreed. However, that night, I saw Kevin's true nature. The shampoo you use smells nice, Jenny. I really do like you. As he said this, Kevin hugged me. Wait a minute. Kevin, you know there's a baby in my belly, right? Didn't I tell you? That kind of thing should wait until after the baby is born. Huh, come on, it's not like it's going to decrease anything. No. Right now, I care about you, Kevin, but this child is Steve's. It's like a memento of Steve, who was with me until recently. What if something happens and I miscarry? When you say it like that. When strongly confronted, Kevin suddenly became sulky and turned away. But this was actually an appeal for attention from Kevin, wanting me to comfort him in his dark mood. At the time, I didn't realize it and just left him alone. Hey. Why aren't you paying attention to me when I'm feeling down? Why aren't you comforting me? Suddenly, Kevin woke me up from my sleep, crying. What? What's going on all of a sudden? And why are you crying? Because you aren't paying attention to me. Before me was Kevin, sulking like a child who wasn't getting the attention he wanted. Honestly, his appearance was frightening. What are you talking about? You're not a child. Why? We're together now, aren't we? It's Jenny's role to comfort me when I'm feeling down. So please, comfort me, pat me. I thought, what's with this guy, so creepy, acting all needy at his age? While grimacing at Kevin's behavior, I reluctantly patted his head. However, this action would later backfire on me. Kevin would constantly seek my attention, rubbing his face against my thigh, suddenly starting to massage my shoulders while I was sitting and working, behaving like a perverted harassment boss every day. Hey, Kevin. I'm about to go into labor soon, you know. I have to finish up a certain amount of work and hand it over, or it'll be a mess. I can't afford to pay attention to you right now, so please wait a bit. As my due date approached, I was desperately working and preparing for childbirth to ensure work could continue smoothly without me. Kevin, unaware that I was the company's president, thought I was handing over a part-time job and kept clinging to me no matter what I said. Enough already. Can't you see I'm busy with work? Just wait a little longer, my due date is almost here. Please understand that. But Kevin wouldn't give up and kept clinging and acting spoiled. The worst was when he got in a bad mood. He would go into attention-seeking mode even more than before. He wouldn't back down unless I patted his head. I'm tired. I'm going to bed now. Suddenly feeling the weight of dealing with Kevin and work, my exhaustion peaked. Feeling lethargic and not wanting to risk anything happening to the baby, I decided to go to bed and leave Kevin alone. Should I come to bed with you? Don't follow me. Fed up with Kevin's persistence, I finally snapped and yelled at him. But that led to the worst outcome. After a while in bed, Kevin came into the bedroom, sat on the opposite side, and started talking. I've been struggling with what to do about the baby in your belly. I was baffled by his sudden statement. He had promised to make me and the child happy after Steve, my former husband, passed away, and now he suddenly changed his tune. Rather than sadness, I felt a surge of dismay. If you were thinking that, why did you decide to be with me? Don't start saying things like that now. The words just slipped out. And Kevin, had he been jealous of the baby all along? Or was it just his way of saying he disliked the idea? But I believed those words stemmed from Kevin's desire for attention, not his true feelings at heart. Kevin then acted as usual, wanting my attention, and climbed into the bed, touching me. That was the last straw for me. How old are you again? Do you need that much attention? You're not a child, you know? I don't care if there's a 10-year age difference between us or not. If you keep this up, I'm going to file for divorce. Hurt by my words, Kevin left the room silently. Now I could finally sleep in peace. Just when I thought that, the door suddenly opened again. And Kevin grabbed my arm and dragged me into the adjacent basement. What are you doing? You made me feel this way, you stupid woman. Reflect on it here. Saying that, Kevin locked the door, leaving me unable to exit the basement. However, this basement was like a midpoint connected to another nuclear shelter. So being locked up here wasn't much of an issue, and Kevin didn't know that. I had built the basement with a double structure as a precaution in case of disasters like house collapse. The basement lock could also be opened from the inside if needed. But to do that, I had to go down to the shelter first. So, I decided to go down to the shelter to get the key. It's already midnight. It's not good for the baby, so I shouldn't overdo it. I'll just sleep for now. For the time being, I spent the night sleeping in the bed set up in the shelter. The next day, I came up with a good idea. Maybe it's time to give Kevin, the ultimate attention seeker, a scare. I still have time before the due date, and staying here for 2 or 3 days won't be a problem. I have an emergency laptop, so I can work from here. Yeah, let's do that. I decided to scare Kevin. But little did I know, this choice would lead to a tragic end. Yet, it's a fact that this served as punishment for Kevin, too indulged in his neediness. And I managed to discipline him. For 3 days, I stayed in the shelter. During this time, Kevin didn't interfere with me at all, it was all quiet. This feels off. I thought he'd at least check on me if not a day passed. The mundane days continued. Then, 3 days later, I suddenly went into labor. It was too early. No way. Labor pains. This is bad, it's too soon, isn't it? You're not supposed to be born for another 5 days at least. While enduring the pain, I crawled to the door with the key, opened it, and fell to the ground with a bang. Hearing the loud noise, Kevin rushed in, his face drained of color as he saw the scene before him. My water had broken, and a large amount of amniotic fluid was flowing on the floor. What? What did you do? How did you open the lock? I'm in labor. Call an ambulance. Panic ensued. Attracted by the commotion, an unfamiliar woman appeared from a back room. Screamed in shock at my sight. Ah! What? Are you okay? Stupid, why are you coming out? Just go, we're leaving. We can't just leave in this situation, we need to call an ambulance fast. Just do it quickly, we're getting out of here. Kevin attempted to drag the woman away, but she shook off his hand and approached me. Are you okay? I'll call an ambulance right now. You. Do whatever you want. Kevin left us and fled. I was then taken to the hospital by ambulance, gave birth. But the child passed away shortly after birth. The rapid stress on my body and complications after the water broke were to blame. It was heartbreaking. I'm sorry, I couldn't be of more help. It's okay, I'm grateful you called the ambulance. By the way, what's your relationship with Kevin? He picked me up the day before meeting you, saying, "This is my place." What was he thinking? He boasted about picking up different people for fun. So probably. I see. Did Kevin do anything weird to you? He was really clingy when I was sleeping. It was so creepy that I was planning to leave the next day, and then you. So he turns into an attention seeker with any woman. Are you sure you're okay, after just giving birth? Hey, can I ask you for a favor? I decided to seek revenge on Kevin. Being locked in the basement was one thing. But the loss of the life that was supposed to come into this world was another. I couldn't give birth to the child of the man I loved most, Steve. I want revenge on him. Because of Kevin, my child is gone. He killed the child of the person I cherished most. I can't let this go. So, help me. With tears pooling at the corners of my eyes, I told her this. Seeing my earnest eyes, the woman hesitated for a moment but then showed understanding. And shared a look of vengeance. I'm in, especially if it's against a man who abandons a pregnant woman. He's an enemy of all women. Let's thoroughly punish him. Thank you, really, thank you. By the way, my name is Jenny. And you are? I'm Michelle. We swore to seek revenge together. After exchanging names and messenger contacts, a shocking truth came to light. Kevin was a serial womanizer, seducing various women even after we were married. Constantly seeking attention from numerous women. Michelle's research revealed about 20 victims, including someone from Kevin's company. You're amazing, Michelle. Thanks for gathering all this information. I'm actually pretty good at this, I'm a detective by profession. What? I had no idea. My mom always ended up with cheating men. Having been exposed to that all my life, I can't stand such men. When I looked into it, I found many people suffering from similar issues. So I thought, why not do something useful and became a detective? Unexpected. You look so gentle, yet being a detective suits you, it's cool. It was surprising yet reassuring to find out that my newfound ally was a detective. Moreover, her network helped in identifying a colleague from Kevin's company, fueling the fire for revenge even more. Since that day, Kevin hadn't returned home, probably too embarrassed after being caught cheating. Just how despicable can he be? Hey, can we get in touch with that colleague from his company? I have a plan. A plan? Let's spread the word in his company about Kevin being a clingy, cheating mess. And about me, about the baby. I doubt we can claim any compensation. Considering it's tricky to link Kevin's actions directly to what happened with your baby. It's okay, even if we can't get compensation. I want him out of that company as much as I resent him. If he has even the slightest involvement in our child's death, I'm willing to fight until he's fired. Michelle seemed to grasp the depth of my resentment, inhaling sharply at my determination. Contacting them is easy, so let me see what I can do. Things moved quickly from there. After contacting the colleague and explaining the situation, numerous incidents of Kevin's inappropriate behavior, like touching and making unwanted advances, came to light. We used this information to corner Kevin. A few days later, I received a call. Hello? It's me. Sorry for not coming home until now. I have a favor to ask, can I come back home? Oh, what happened? Anything wrong? I feigned ignorance in response to Kevin's words. Well, it's just that, my situation has suddenly changed. What situation, exactly? It's just, after you left me that day and now suddenly you want to come back home because of your situation? I know everything, you got fired for sexual harassment at work, didn't you? What? How do you know that? I know it all, how you've been picking up countless women and fooling around. No, it's... Realizing I knew about all his misdeeds, Kevin started to falter, his words trembling. But, you know, the baby. The baby was born safely, right? In an attempt to distract from the situation, Kevin squeezed out those words, hitting me right where it hurt the most, like the pop of a champagne cork, setting off a loud sound in my heart. My anger exploded in an instant. The baby isn't here anymore. What? There's no baby. It was born but passed away immediately. Why? Stress. Excessive stress affected the fetus, and the delayed handling after my water broke. Hearing the situation, Kevin seemed unable to say anything more. It felt less like awkwardness and more like an apology, a sense of regret coming through. I think it's best for us to get a divorce. So, it's come to that? Of course. I can't be with you. Don't come back home. I'm sorry. It's too late for apologies. I believed in you, even when you were overly clingy. I thought you had a kind heart. You're the worst. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face, the warmth stimulating my nose, causing my tears and mucus to flow alike. I was sobbing over the phone. Kevin quietly listened to my breakdown. As I calmed down and was about to hang up, a muffled voice came through. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Can you forgive me? His voice, faint and filled with regret, perhaps even crying, came through the speaker. I'm sorry, but no. We'll discuss the divorce later at a cafe. I'll contact you properly on Messenger. I hung up after saying that. Later, Kevin and I agreed to meet at a cafe near the station. Unaware that this day would be hell for him, he casually showed up. I'm at the cafe, but where are you? I'm inside, come in. Already inside, I coaxed Kevin to enter through a phone call. And then. Huh? What? Long time no see. It's not long time no see, all these people around us are. They're the people you cheated with. I brightly countered. I know, I remember all their faces. Around him were about 7 women, all giving Kevin cold stares, intimidating him. Everyone looks well. That seemed to be the best he could muster, causing everyone to sigh, which was my cue. Just sit down and write this divorce paper, right here. I pushed the divorce papers in front of Kevin. A server, positioned a bit away from our table, decided it wasn't the right time to approach for orders, given the intimidating atmosphere, and hesitated on the spot. I get that, but why are they here? Everyone gathered after hearing about my situation. They're people who dislike your character. No, what? Listen to what everyone has to say, okay? Kevin then faced a barrage of words from everyone, shrinking more and more under the pressure. In such a public setting, anyone would feel the same way. I wanted to make Kevin feel humiliated and mentally cornered. Just like he had done to me with his constant need for attention. I wanted him to experience how painful it is to be treated that way. So, how do you feel now? Of course, I feel awful. Why would you do this? Isn't this the same thing you did to me? What are you talking about? Cut it out. Kevin's tone became a bit sharper, perhaps irritated by the situation. The one who should cut it out is me. Why did you come here today? You thought you were here just to sign the divorce papers? Isn't there something more important you've forgotten? The child is gone. Did you forget that? The child of Steve, your respected boss. The child Steve loved and created with me. You're as good as responsible for that child's death. Apologize right here, kneel down and apologize. To Steve and the child. Kevin was momentarily taken aback by my intensity. But the mention of the child and Steve brought him back to seriousness. And he prostrated himself on the floor. I'm truly sorry, I regret everything. I apologize to you, Jenny. I'll go through with the divorce. I apologize for everything, for approaching you with my feelings, all of it. Please, forgive me. Please, for Steve too, just forgive me. As he apologized, Kevin's face turned pale, and he started sweating. I wondered what was going on. But the irritation seemed to have vanished as he diligently filled out the divorce papers. Apologizing repeatedly before leaving the cafe. I thought my revenge was over. After the divorce was finalized, Kevin appeared at the house to pack and move his remaining belongings. You look worn out? Yeah. Steve has been appearing in my dreams lately. I've been having nightmares. Appearing in your dreams. I see. Hearing Kevin's words made me think. After all that had happened, it's no wonder Steve would hold a grudge against him. Feeling that his nightmares were inevitable, I learned from Michelle, the detective, that Kevin had moved into a new place and was looking for a full-time job while working part-time. By the way, when Michelle had investigated Kevin, she insisted on not taking any money. However, feeling it was unfair not to pay for her efforts during her work breaks, I insisted and eventually paid her around $10,000. Whether or not that was the appropriate amount. Michelle and I became good friends and occasionally met for coffee. Even more, a few of the women I met at the cafe turned out to be fans of my brand, leading to an unexpected camaraderie. Now, they're close friends with whom I can share drinks. This event has drastically changed my life compared to Kevin's, proving that bad deeds don't go unpunished. Friends made through my brand. And a boyfriend introduced by those friends who also loves my brand, remind me of Steve. I want to be with this person who makes me feel the same way. Now, I'm feeling truly happy.